Today we're at Broadoak Woodlands. We're joined by the staff from the Bodvary Woodland Skills Centre who are going to do some tree identification with us. So we've got the Owl Backyard staff and volunteers who are going to go on a ID walk. The importance of this is to make sure that when we're working in the woodlands we understand what kind of trees are here and that we can measure the biodiversity of the woodland and make sure that we've got lots of different types of trees.
These here are all baby Norway maples and it seeds prolifically, and one of the reasons why it's of interest is because with all the ash, or nearly all the ash, will go from ash dieback, and we've got to think if 20% of all the hardwood trees in Britain are ash trees, that's a huge hole in the woodland cover as they all go. There's only two species of tree that can live with their roots in the water, and that's willow and alder. And in Wales, alder was a really important tree because it was planted along the edge of rivers, because it didn't matter if the roots went through the bank into the river, it could still live. If you've got a river that's curving round like that, it erodes on the outside of the bend, and there was a time when they used to put steel pilings in to stop it eroding, but what the technique now is to take cuttings of alder, because it roots really easily. So you take a piece of alder about that sort of diameter and 2 or 3 metres long, and you drive it in where the bank is eroding, and drive it in just next to the bank, and then behind it are piles of silver birch brash. The silver birch, I don't want to talk too much about silver birch, we'll get near one, but in the water, in the absence of oxygen, it will last almost forever. So that's your curve of the river, and it's flowing this way and it's eroding there. Drive in the alder poles and they will root and grow, and behind them have the silver birch brash, and that catches the silt on the outside and it stops it eroding anymore. And it's a really nice natural carbon, sort of carbon neutral way of dealing with erosion on riverbanks. Leaves prickly.
Holly.
Holly. It's holly. Holly. Thank you. Glad somebody's listening. Deer, cattle, all sorts of things will eat the leaves, particularly in the winter. Well, they would eat the leaves if they weren't prickly, when there's nothing else. If you look higher up in the canopy of this, and you look at the leaves at the top, can you see a difference?
They're like flatter, aren't they?
And they're not
A bit sparse.
They're not prickly.
Oh, right.
The higher up the tree you go right up to the top, they don't have prickles. And that's an interesting sort of development thing that holly has done over the millennia. It protects itself by being prickly low down, but it takes energy for the tree to produce the prickles, and they don't benefit it. It's just a defence thing. So they've evolved to be prickly to about 3 metres and then not prickly above. I think it's important that woodlands are diverse in terms of the species range of trees for lots of reasons. One is if you have a monoculture, whether it's oak or larch or ash or whatever, if you do get a virus or a fungal infection or something like this, it will wipe out everything. If it's a monoculture, we have learned from our experience with Forestry Commission monoculture conifers that they are at risk. So for the health of the woodland, it's important to have a range of species. It's also important to have a range of ages of trees, so you get a six. Otherwise, everything grows up the same, everything reaches maturity at the same time, everything falls over, and you've got nothing. It's important that to have clearings like this has been, so there's a lot of natural regeneration that's come in, and younger trees. In terms of wildlife too, it's important to have a species diverse woodland. It supports lots of different sorts of creature. If you haven't got the dead wood on the floor, you don't have the invertebrates that are at the bottom of the food chain, so you won't have the birds, and then you won't have the higher apex predators, you know, your sparrowhawks or whatever. So yeah, it needs a range of species and a range of ages.
My favourite tree is the oak tree. I like everything about it, the way it looks, the bark. I've learned today that there's a lot of wildlife that use it for to grow, and I have found out that you can let ivy grow up it. It won't harm the tree at all, and it's such a beautiful tree. Yeah, I really like that bit about it.
If you'd like to join us on our volunteering sessions on Wednesdays and Thursdays, or come along to sessions where we learn more about nature and wildlife, then you're more than welcome. You can find out more information on our social media sites.